We are beginning the lesson 31. The page Yud 10, Asulam, the right column, the line 18. At the end of the last lesson, I gave just an example, a piece actually of an example from out of the Torah, from Atzilut. So the high Torah, the Torah of that doesn't speak about flesh and blood, about nation of flesh and blood with certain traits, but only about the souls that are, as it were, that hang, as it were, that originate, as it were, from the tree of life. And I give an example about example of Chagat, Chesed, Gvora, Tiferet. Chesed is Chesed of the European is the soul of Abraham, and if you, the gematria of the name Abraham is 248, and if you, and the gematria of Yitzchak, and Yitzchak is the soul that in the upper world is in the Atzilut, corresponds with the Gvura, and the gematria of Yitzchak is 208. It's just a simple example that you would, in order to give you some feeling that the Zohar, the Kabbalah doesn't speak a word about our world. Look, and then Yaakov is Tiferet of the Zeranpin, and Yaakov, the gematria of Yaakov is 182. So, and Yaakov and Abraham is the right line, and Yitzchak is the left line, and Yaakov is the middle line. So Yaakov took from Abraham the quality of Chesed, and from Yitzchak the quality of Gvura, and that's why he became perfect. The Torah speaks about him as Ishtam, a perfect man, because he had both of them. And how can we see this out of the gematria? And the gematria just helps us to see what he did receive from Abraham and from Yitzchak. Look, Abraham is 248. If you how do you diminish? No, if you just minus less 248 less the gematria, subtract how do you say it? Subtract. If you subtract from the gematria of Abraham is 248. Then you subtract the gematria of Yaakov, 182. It will left 66, and 66 is gematria. 65 is gematria of Adni. One more is okay. This is the kolel. This is the general item, that a general member, as it were. It belongs to this. We will speak about this. One more or one less, it is always good because it gives some extra dimension. So we see that from Abraham he get Adni, the name Adni, and now if we will take the gematria of Yitzchak, 208, and we will subtract. Is it the right word? We will subtract the gematria of Yaakov in order to see what Yaakov had received from Yitzchak. 208 from Yitzchak, and then subtract the gematria of Yaakov, 182. Then we will have 26, the gematria of Havaya. We see that he had got from Yitzchak the gematria Havaya. So now he has two things in himself, Havaya and Adni. And Havaya and Adni, if you combine them one by one, the first letter of Adni, and then the first letter of Havaya, and the second letter of Adni, and the second letter of Havaya, then we will have the holy name that exists of these two, because these two make zivug with each other. And interesting is also here in Yaakov that the Adni we would expect to get this Adni on the left side, and the Havaya we would expect to get on the right side, because this is normal. The Chasadim is Havaya, and Gvorot, Adni is the trait of Malchut. So it must be on the contrary, Adni must be on the left side, and Havaya must be on the right side. Why it is like this? Because of the inclusion. This gematria shows that not only that is given this what Abraham gave to Yaakov, and not that is not that they are these are inclusion in the name of the Yaakov. Adni is inclusion of the left in the right, and in the left line what Yaakov had received from Yitzchak, we see it in the left line, the Havaya, whilst the Havaya belongs naturally in the right line. Why it is like this? It shows us that this Havaya is enclosed now in the left line, and this is what we have in Yaakov. So I can go on, so you will see that has nothing to do with Yaakov, with the bird, and Yosef, all this story, narrative of the Torah, that that Yosef was sold to Egyptians. That it will come the time that then we will study this, and this is amazing what this is all about. That by studying just a normal Torah, what they all study, they learn nothing about this. Because this is the Torah of the Torah of the, we call it Nistar, the hidden, secret Torah. But they don't study this secret Torah. And look, just, if we are speaking about this, let's look what Yaakov gave to Yosef. Yaakov is just an example, a simple example, just to demonstrate you, to illustrate you that the Torah speaks no word about our world. Yeah, that Yaakov is Gematria 182, and we know that the light from the Tiferet. The Tiferet is intrinsically connected to the Yesod, and the Yesod is Yosef, and the light comes from Yaakov to Yosef. That's why Yosef liked his son Yosef. Yaakov liked Yosef most than all others than his other sons. And look what Yaakov gave to Yosef. And just Yaakov is, the Gematria is 182. And Yosef is the Gematria, if you take the name of Yosef, is Gematria 156. And if you just subtract 182 and you subtract 156, you will get the same, you will get 26. Gematria of Havaya. So that's what he gave to his son. You see how he gave it? We see, in this case, we see that the Gematria of Yaakov is higher than the Gematria of Yosef. Yosef is less, is 156. It means that that Yosef as Yesod, that is under the Chazeh, in Achorayim, under the Chazeh of the Partsuf of the Yeranpin. So Yosef had to rise himself to Yaakov, whilst the Yaakov received from the Mochin from Abraham and Yitzchak. But Yosef had to rise up to above the Chazeh. How could he receive the light? Now Yosef is under the Chazeh. Yeah, under the Chazeh. You know that the light doesn't come into under the Chazeh. Under the Chazeh of the Partsuf is Achorayim, is the backside. How legally legitimate receipt, how the lower Sfirot under the Chazeh receive the light. Yesod rises up to Yaakov and receives the Havaya from him. Okay. And then he gets this Havaya, and he provides this Havaya to the Nukva. But just, I don't explain further, doesn't matter, just an example. And so we can go on to see that this is only Gematria. And there are other things that show us the intrinsic powers of the souls, as the inner part of the creation. And now we are returning back to the Zohar. So he said to us that that Am Israel, the nation of Israel, had preceded doing action to listening, to understanding. And this means that they took upon themselves the Tzimtzum bet. That's all. It is a spiritual action. What they, as the preparation for the receiving of the Torah. And that's why they could receive the Torah. By doing this, by preceding action or doing, that Asiyah is Malchut, and placing the Binah, understanding, under the doing, they diminished, as it were, their wish to receive, in order to conform with the Binah, with a higher level. And by that, they deserved, as it were, they brought themselves in conformity with the Binah, and from the Binah came the Torah. The Torah is Binah. The Torah comes from the Binah. Actually, the source of the Binah comes from the Yesod of the Abba. And this is what the Binah, what the Malchut receives by rising up to the Binah, the place of the Binah. 18. וזה אמרו כאן, שלכן הייתה השמיעה ביום 19 השישי, כי בו נעשה התיקון הזה, להקדים עשייה 20 לשמיעה. 18. וזה אמרו כאן. And this is what Zohar says here. שלכן, that this is why הייתה השמיעה, the listening, the hearing, was on the sixth day. You remember that Nishma, that was written in the Shir HaShirim, in the Song of Songs, that the voice of dove, Nishma Ba'aretz, was heard in the country, and hearing and listening is the same in Hebrew. And so that he says that it was on the sixth day. And the sixth day of the creation, what is the sixth day of the creation? We will see. This is Yesod. Ki bona sa tikun hazeh. Because on this day was made this tikkun, lehagdim asiyah lishmiyah, to precede the asiyah before the shmiyah, the doing before the listening or hearing or understanding. Point. Kmo b'matan Torah, 20 after the point. Weil ken, nasta 21 hamalchut, b'shabbat brishit, b'vchinat eretz hachayim, 22, shehu sot ima ila'a, point. Kmo b'matan Torah, 20 after the point. So as in the act of the presenting gift of the Torah, so in the same, because during the gift of the Torah was the same, that the nation of Israel, as I said, preceded the doing, placed the doing before the understanding. Well, and that this is why nasta malchut b'Shabbat, and this is why the malchut became on the first Shabbat, b'vchinat eretz hachayim, in the aspect of living country. 22. Shehu sot ima ila'a, that this is the upper ima. You see, when the malchut rises up to the bina is chayim, life, and malchut is eretz, country or land, better to say. Then malchut becomes Eretz Chayim, the living country. And this is Ima Ila'a, this is the quality of Ima Ila'a. This is the quality of the high, of the upper Ima, when the Malchut is standing on her place. 22. Point. Kmo so as the Zohar continues to explain. You see, the sentence, Kmo shemevaer veholech. Look, this is an important thing. Kmo, this means as, shemevaer, as the Zohar explains. Doesn't stay. You don't see the word Zohar. We can translate it with he explains, and then we have the word veholech, and goes on. And in English you can also say like this. So as he goes on with explanation, explaining. It is also important to know that the Hebrew verb in the present tense, in the present time, is is a kind of a participle. It is more a participle. In English, we can make it, in English is it the words with ing. Like in this case it would be kmo shemevaer veholech, so as he goes on explaining. This explaining, you see, this means a process that goes on as this form of ing form expresses. 22 after the last point. V'inyan 23 ze amuk meod. Vayen kan bemarot asulam 24. Shehirchavnu inyan ze point. V'inyan 23 ze amuk meod, and this question is very profound, deep. Vayen, and read here in the Marot Sulam, in the comment, Marot Sulam, the vision of the Hasulam, that we already have passed. 24. We have already learned this. 24. Shehir Chavnu Inyan Ze, there, over there, we we explained a lot about this. 25. Over there he explained us that the Malchut rose up to the place of the Binah, and the Binah was descended. The Binah descended to the body of the Arichanpin. You remember, and over there she was divided in two pieces, in Abouima and Yishsut, etc. That's why he said this is a deep question, and he refers us to this place, what we have studied already, the Marot Sulam. 25. Be'artzeinu, da Yom Shabbat, de Ihu Dugmat, 26, Eretz HaChaim. 25, Be'artzeinu, in our country, or in our land, better to say. So you remember the voice was heard in our land. So the last word is in our land. This corresponds with the seventh day of the creation. So that's what he says. 25. Be'artzeinu, in our land. Da Yom Shabbat. This is the day of Shabbat. Dehainu, the Ihu Dugmat Eretz HaChaim, that this is the, how do you call it, Dugmat? That this corresponds with the Eretz HaChaim. This looks like, or resembles, better to say. This Dugmat is a resemblance, literally. 26, of the Eretz HaChaim, of the living land. see, very important item, the Shabbat. And this is like a living land, because on the Shabbat we rise up to the Binah, to the Abuim, on the day of the Shabbat. On the Shabbat, on the Shabbat, on the day of the Shabbat, in the Tefillah, in the prayer of Musaf, of the additional, after the additional, in the additional prayer in the morning. If someone does it properly and knows what he does, he rises up to the Binah, and then one doesn't feels for inside himself as if he lives in the living land. It means living land, not like we feel during the 6 days of the working days, when we are fighting, as it were, with the klipot, and we can fight with the klipot only due to what we receive on the Shabbat. Then it provides not fighting, real fighting during the 6 days, but the fighting means that on the Shabbat we get the protection, the light that protects us from the klipot. And this light surrounds a person during the 6 days of the week, 6 working days. And of course it's getting less and less. But still it provides enough resistance that the unclean powers can't get through, and up till the end of the week, of the weekdays, one has keeps the kedusha, the holiness that surrounds him. And that's why what he says, that Eretz HaChayim, the living land. I just can say to you one thing. Someone who doesn't know Shabbat is not protected at all. It doesn't matter what kind of religion he belongs to, what kind of religion, religion doesn't say anything, it doesn't protect a person. I mean, it protects, of course, in a certain way. It means that someone feels identity with, he needs identity, he identifies himself with a nation, with a group, and this, of course, gives him a certain frame. This is the artificial protection. He protects himself, like, someone can say, I don't want to go outside, I will sit in my room, I protect myself. So, like artificial protection, or something else. And so also any religion is in the same way, and that's why they keep so stubborn. They grasp this item, religion, because they feel that it has some protection, it gives some protection. But above they say, as it were, in powers, in the strength of the higher powers, that, as it were, they say that this person believes in his religion, so we don't need to protect him. He finds his protection in his religion. Let him be, he wants to think, he wants to believe that his religion protects him. We don't need to protect him. You understand? Yes. Yes, that's what you're right, that in such a way one doesn't build up his personal relationship with the light, you see, but he relies upon what people say, what the group say, what should I do just with my hands and feet to do this, to do mitzvot, all kind of things. So it is not a protection. And we see also in our time, we see a lot of things that I look very, I don't know, no, not anymore, but still I hear what they say, and I have the information, just look in order to see the truth, that it doesn't protect a person. Are the Orthodox protected? Not at all. Just by, but still they keep Shabbat. If they keep Shabbat, of course, they receive also some protection, even they don't understand. Of course, this is also a kind of protection. Even lo lishma. But the Shabbat, because the Shabbat is like this, but if one doesn't understand what he does, also very, very little protection one receives during Shabbat. See, it's a special condition, Shabbat, that brings a person to the land of life. And so one feels this. It's really feeling, experience. How can we see it? How can we experience? One can fantasize, yeah, how do you call it? One can make an imagination that he is in the living country. How you feel it? You feel that you are freed from the klipot. You're under the place, under the chazeh is, as it were, empty. And all the lights from under the chazeh are above the chazeh. Look very carefully what I want to say. So and so look, all the lights are already in the Atzilut. And it feels, that's why it feels like a Gmar Tikkun, as the, how do you call it, as the final redemption or final Tikkun, when someone, final correction. Yes? It feels like this. Why? Because the lights are already up, the lights are already withdrawn from the kilim that are under the chazeh, not corrected, all in where the klipot can grasp the kilim like this. But that's why we feel like the living country is above the chazeh is bina, because above the chazeh is ir and bin, but up till the end of the chazeh, the point of the chazeh, stretches the yesod of the binah. So it is binah, or ima, ila'a, as he says. Okay, it is tfuna, doesn't matter, but tfuna is also binah. But in the kilim, but not the kilim. That's why we say that the Shabbat is like Olam Haba, like Olam Haba. Olam Haba, the future world, the world to come, is Binah. That's what they say. Ki Olam Haba, Ki means like Olam Haba, even more. Ki is a very important comparison, the prefix of the comparison, but means a lot of things, a lot. But we will study it. But Ki Olam Haba, so we say that Shabbat is like the world to come. Because from one point we are already in the world to come. Why is it then, why still we need, why the Torah says still Ke Olam Haba, not Olam Haba, but Ke Olam Haba, as the prefix of comparison. It is as if, because the kilim are not the kilim are still the real kilim. The Zeir Anpin and Malchut are real, if we just count them as 5, that the real kilim are still in the under the chazeh. It means under the chazeh, if we just, what I say under the chazeh and above the chazeh, I mean that Atzilut is, all the Atzilut is up, all the Atzilut from the chazeh and above. There's all the Atzilut, we can say, up till the Malchut of the Atzilut, is from the chazeh and above. And the Bria, Yetzirah, and Asiyah are in this general view, are from the Chazeh and below. You see, in such a way, you must see things. Sometimes we speak about the worlds, but sometimes we are speaking about all this Atzilut and Bia, and Yetzirah, Asiyah, they are one world. But because of the Tzimtzum Bet, they are divided. So actually, the Atzilut, all the Atzilut is the world Atzilut from the Chazeh and above. And the Bia, we can say actually, in a very general term, is from the Chazeh and down and below. So on the Shabbat we rise up all the lights from Bia in ourself, in myself. From myself, the place in myself that corresponds to the Bia, all these lights, to the Atzilut. But the Kilim, I can't get them to the Atzilut. Why I can't get them to the Atzilut? Why I can't do it with lights, but not with the Kilim? Kilim are not corrected. The lights means that the broken Masach, all the broken Masachim, and the light also, the lights Bia, this is also lights of Chesed, all kinds of things that lights that of the Bia that can rise up on the Shabbat. They do it. They rise up to the Shabbat. Of course, I must prepare myself. But even so, every single Jew, who, I just say Jew, I mean Israel, from Israel, who keeps Shabbat, or someone else who doesn't, who is not a Jew but keeps Shabbat. I mean, everyone can keep Shabbat. I mean, in real terms, it means on Shabbat he does bring himself completely in the unity with the light, and brings his kilim to the brings himself in the conformity with the Atzilut. Everyone can do it. They don't understand what the Torah sages had said. They said that a goy, not Jew, is not allowed to keep a Shabbat. They don't understand. So because why? Very nice. Miriam says very nice. It said otherwise we will not get the Jews and the goyim and the not Jews. So they must stay not Jews. Of course, otherwise they will get the same priority as the Jews, of course. But the creation is made for everyone. Keep it in mind. So, but the kilim we can't get above. Why not? Because why? Why not? Why can't we get the kilim above? The kilim, very important. The kilim are not transferable. You see how the kilim of the higher level that in the Gadlut rise up to their own level. This is possible because of the parsa that, as it were, the Malchut goes down, descends to their own, to her own place, and then the kilim of the higher, the Binah, Zeir, and Pin, and Malchut, then they rise to their own position, and they take with themselves the Reshimo. Very important. The Reshimo, not the kilim, Keter Chochma of the lower level, but only the Reshimo of this kilim, as it were, the light that was corresponds to this kilim. But the kilim are staying always on their own place. It's something additional that it takes above, but not the kilim themselves. But why on Shabbat we can't get the kilim above? Because of the parsa. Yeah, because of this division, the line of the division, the parsa. And this parsa we can't get actually down up till the Gmar Tikkun, up till the general Gmar Tikkun with the coming of the Mashiach. As we say, B'mheira b'yameinu. As soon as possible. But it is not just saying like this. If we recall the name of Mashiach, then it's good to say like this, because in such a way when we mention, it must be go together with the intention. then when we mention the Mashiach, and we, at that point, we rise up very high directly with the mentioning of the Mashiach, then we say it like this, B'mheira b'yameinu, as soon as possible, as it were. By this we also use the moment of this connection, where our saying goes up, wherever it may go, and we use this to add what we need. But the parsa stays up till the coming of the Mashiach, as I've said. That's why on Shabbat it is like the final correction. That's why we say on the Shabbat, in the Kabbalah, we're saying that everything is, it looks, the body, the spiritual body of someone who keeps the Shabbat in the right way, is like a body, like a body of someone who in his up till his feet is he already he is living, he has all the limbs, but look what I say, but in place of his legs, he has not the legs, but how do you call it? No. Nee, wat in plaats van de benen, he has someone who doesn't have the feet. Doesn't have he's someone whose feet are amputated. He has, in place of the amputated feet, what does he has? This prothèse, yeah, prothèse. So he has two protheses. You see, this is look like this is the like from above. This is from beneath. This is the how someone is on Shabbat if he does it properly. So he doesn't feel, as it were, from his legs. He doesn't feel it. Doesn't feel it. Of course, he feels everything, but the Kedusha, he doesn't feel in his legs. This, where you can find this? Nowhere, only in the Zohar, only in the Torah, in the Kabbalah, that from his legs and down, there is no klipot and no Kedusha. You understand? That's why we say that it is like prothesis. Not the legs. Above, he is in the Kedusha. All from his body and his head, everything is in the Kedusha. But his legs are not in the Kedusha, but also not in the klipot. Okay? And the klipot, they hide themselves in the depth of the waters, a special place, as it were, where they hide themselves. This is a little bit some additional information and feeling probably what is Shabbat. 26 after the double point. So that's what he said, that Bartseinu, we just connect what the Zohar had said. In our land, as it is written, as the last word in this verse, in the Song of Songs. He said, this is the day of Shabbat. The Ihu Dogmat 26 Eretz Achayim, that this is the resemblance, that it resembles the resemblance of the land, living land. And Shabbat, by the way, Shabbat, 3 letters of the Shabbat, they are part of the word Breshit. And the second part is Yireh Shabbat. The 3 letters that left, that are the 3 more letters of the word Breshit, of the first word of the Torah, that everything you can find in this first word of the Torah. The Yireh means frightened. Someone is frightened. So, frightens. He's frightened of Shabbat. Frightened means he has reverence of Shabbat. Because without Shabbat, how can we live? How can we get the power for the 6 days of the 6 weekdays? I will not know where from. And that's why the Torah sages say that if the holy nation would keep one Shabbat together, all of them, the Mashiach would come. And this is not just saying, but we are returning to our Zohar. 26, double point. Ima ila'a nikra eretz achayim. Ima ila'a, the upper Ima, nikra is called eretz achayim, the living country, or the living land, better to say. 27. Validei hashpa'at yom hashishi alta hanukva bayom 28 Shabbat demase breshit ad ima ila'a v'na'asta 29 gam hanukva dugmat eretz achayim. Point. Very clearly he speaks to us. Hasulam is very precise. Look, 27. Validei hashpaat yom hashishi, and due to the bestowing, to the giving of abundance of the 6th day, because the 6th day is the Yesod. Yesod receives everything on the 6th day. All the Chasadim, everything he receives. And he gives it to the Nukva on the 7th day. And then she has this, as we already studied this, that Yesod gives it to the Nukva, it is Or Yashar. This is the direct light. And then the Nukva rises up the Or Choser. And Nukva has then comes in the Gadlut. So she rises up here Or Choser up till the Ima Ila'a. Look what he says. V'alidei hashpaat yom hashishi. And due to the bestowing or giving of the abundance of light on the sixth day, Alta Hanukva Bayom Shabbat, the Nukva rose up on the day of the Shabbat. 28. The Maaseh Brishit of the act of the creation, Ad Ima Ila'a, till the upper Ima. Venasta 29. Gam Anukva Dugmat Eretz HaChaim, and the Nukva became as resemblance of the living country. So 29 after the point, Ki ze haklal, im 30, atachton, olele ilyon mimenu, nasa kamohu mamash, point. 29 after the point, Ki ze haklal, because this is the principle, and the principle means the law of the universe, spiritual law, because this is the principle. Im 30 atachton olele yon, if a lower level rises up to a higher level, to the higher level from him, to the higher adjacent level, nasa kamohu mamash, it becomes really like that one, like the higher one. You see, and this was on the day of Shabbat. The next ought above, in the line 1, we are starting with the ought hey of the Zohar, the text of the Zohar itself. Davar acher, hanitzanim, ilen, inon, avham, de'alu b'machashava, va'alu ba'alma to de'ate, v'idganizu taman. Point. 1. Ot hey 5. Davar acher, this is an abbreviation of davar acher. Literally it means another word or another thing, or freely translated means another interpretation. Davar acher, another interpretation. Look, if you come across something like this, that the Zohar or Ari will say, another interpretation, what does it mean? Does it mean that there are different interpretations, that this is good and this is maybe better, or like this? It doesn't mean that one is better than another one. Yes, there are 70 ways of explanation of the Torah. So look, everything, the spirituality is the layers, higher. You see? And lower. So if someone just only studies the lower Torah, just Abraham went over there like this, just plain narrative, plain story. This is also a kind of level, very, very low level. There are high levels. Only the Zohar warns us not to stay with this plain translation, plain meaning. One may study this plain meaning. One may study the Mishnayot. But if one stays only with Mishnah, or only with the plain meaning, or even only with Talmud, without the elements of the, without perceiving the Torah of the Atzilut, this will not work. You understand? So when studying the Kabbalah, then one may study everything else, because all of them are levels of the Torah, 70 ways of the explanation of the Torah. Why 70? Because the Torah is Kilim. The Torah is Zeir Anpin. And Zeir Anpin is Kilim. So, from the Chesed till the Malchut, there are 7 Sfirot, they are the body of the Partzuf. That's why the Torah is also the body, the world. In the code of the world, how the world really functions. Above. And this is the Torah. That's why the seven layers, from Chesed till the Malchut, and everyone has 10. Yeah, every Sphira has 10, and that's why 70. So 70 from everyone, every one of these 70 is one way, one layer of the powers of the Torah, or the level of the spirituality. So the same way what we are studying here, that he says, Davar acher, another interpretation. You must not say that, think in yourself that, there is another interpretation. So one can say this and one can say this. No, this is what I've just mentioned. That this can be of a different level. With the davar acher, and another thing, another interpretation. Anitzanim ilen inon avhan. Anitzanim, the sprouts, as we have translated this word. These are the fathers. It means fathers, yeah. The alu b'machashava, that entered into the thought. Ve'alu be'alma de'ate, and they entered into the world to come. The line 2, V'idganizu taman, and they were hidden over there. Point. 2 after the point. Umitaman nafku begnizo, with et miro go neviei kashut. I would place here a point, one word before the end of the line 2. The line 2 after the first point, umitaman, and from there, nafku bagnizo, they went out in a hidden way, ve'atmiru, and they concealed themselves within neviei kashut, within the true prophets. Our point. The line 2, one word before the end. It yalit 3 Yosef, it mirube. Yosef was born, and they concealed themselves in him, literally, within him, in him. Point 3 after the point. It's beautiful what the Zohar speaks, but step by step we will learn the language of the Zohar, and on the behind of this we will see the tree of life, and then this corresponds to each other, and this language of the Zohar then begins to live and gives additional great power to only instead of only to speaking about the Sfirot as it is normally, but it gives additional, a great feeling, a great reaction and burning power, and enlarges, multiplies our kilim within ourselves tremendously. 3 after the point. Al Yosef be'ara kadisha ve'natsiv lon taman uchadin nir'u for ba'aretz v'itgalu taman. Point 3 after the point. Al Yosef ba'ara kadisha. Yosef entered to the holy land, v'natziv lon taman, and literally natziv lon taman, it means kept them over there. It means he nurtured them, feeded them, nurtured them, he gave them substance, or like this. He nurtured them, he feeded them, or sustained them. Nourished, he nourished them over there, literally. Uchadin, and then Nir'u ba'aretz, and then, as the Song of Songs says, Nir'u ba'aretz, were appeared on earth, on earth. You remember the beginning was the sprouts appeared on earth. And this is what he says, that this is how he interprets this verse in an other dimension, as he said in the beginning, davar acher, in an other interpretation. Read galu taman, and they were revealed over the point. For after the point, the first point, ve'ematai it hazun, and where and when were they, when appeared they, when did they appear? Or when they appeared, the point after the last point. Basha'ata de idgale keshet be'alma. The next page. Jude Aleph. The page 11. The first line of the Zohar above. Basha'ata gekeshet itchaze kedin idgalin inon. Here is a comma, yes or not? You have a comma? Okay. I would read, okay, we are reading further. Uvahahi sha'ata et hazamir yehigia. To Edam lekatzatz chayavin mi alma point. We are returning to the previous page. Okay, and then we'll finish this. The line 2 on the next page, Yud Aleph 11. In order to finish all this, the 2 lines, and then we have one, they are belonging to the same context. 2 after the first point. Amai ishtazivu point. Begin the Hanitzanim niru ba'aretz. 3. Ve'ilmala de nira'u lo ishtarun ba'alma va'alma lo itkayim point. We are returning back to the previous page. Yud. The line 4. After the first, let's start with after the first point. Ve'ematai chazum, and when they appeared, point basha'ata. So this sprouts, as he said. Basha'ata did gale keshet ba'alma. At the moment, when the keshet, when the bow, how do you call it? Rainbow. When the rainbow appeared, revealed itself in the world. The next page, Basha'ata. Because at the moment, the keshet it has, when the rainbow appeared, kedin idgalien inon, then they revealed themselves. Ubahahi sha'ata, and at that moment, eta zamir higia, the time of cutting, of pruning, as we have called this, the time of pruning came to Adam, the period lekatzetz chayavin mi'alma, to cut off the sinners from the world. Point. Amai ishtazivu. Look what he says after the first point. Amai ishtazivu, why they were redeemed, saved, better say, why they were saved. Point. Begin. The hanitzanim nirubaretz, because the sprouts appeared on earth. 3. Ve'ilmala de nir'u, and would they not, and if they not appeared, lo ishtarun ba'alma, they would not remain in the world. Ve'alma lo itkayim, and the world would not be would not exist, would not stay over, how do you call it? Overhand, no? Will not keep existing. When we hear like this, all these things what the Zohar have said to us, this is above everything. This is, one can say, this is something that, and the language that, as they say, that this is a symbolic language or allegoric language, all kind of words they use in order not to study, not to experience the spirituality. That's why they explain this in all the way, and doesn't work. It doesn't work at all, because without the fully being within this context, within the Zohar, doing this lishma, nothing wanting to get from this, only the truth. All other intentions, all other reasons for studying Zohar will not help. And still, if someone doesn't even understand the word, but has a true intention, it will help. Now we have returned to the previous page. Oh, I didn't translate it yet, yeah? Everything? Okay, I've translated everything. Okay. Now we have returned to the previous page. Hasulam, the page Yud 10. Hasulam, the right column, the line 31. Ot hei. Davar acher. Hanetzanim ilen vechule. Davar acher, another interpretation. Hanetzanim ilen vechule. The sprouts are etc. Double point. Pirush. Acher. Point. Another interpretation. 32. Hadetzanim. Eilu hem ha'avot shenichnasu b'machashava. 33. V'nichnasu ba'olam haba. Shehu bina. V'nignazu sham. Point. 32 after the point. Hanetzanim, the sprouts. Eiluhem ha'avot, these are the fathers. Look very careful. When we hear fathers, we always keep in mind that these are the Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, as I've told you at the beginning of this lesson. Chesed, Gvura, Tiferet, these are three fathers. The Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Elohem Havot, these are the fathers, Shenichnasu b'machashava, that entered into the machashava, into the thought. 33. V'nichnasu ba'olam haba, and they entered into the future, in the world to come. Shehu bina, and now he helps us. He says that this is bina. The world to come is bina. V'nignazu sham, and they have concealed themselves over there. Point. 34. Umisham yatsu bagnizo v'nistaru toch neviyei ha'emet. Umisham, and from there. Yatsu bagnizo, they went out in Begnizo, concealed. No, hide it. Yeah, hide it. V'nistaru toch nevayei haimet, and they hide themselves within the true prophets. And when we hear the true prophets, Nevi'ei Emet, then we always must understand, know, and to know that these are Netzach and Hod. Why the Netzach and Hod are called Nevi'ei Emet, the true prophets, because there are true prophet and there are false, how do you call it? False prophets. There were a lot of false prophets. What does it mean? Only the true prophets receive their prophecy from the Netzach and Hod. From Netzach and Hod, one can receive the true prophets received their prophecy. Why? We will see, we will learn it. you can receive something from this prophecy just from this Netzach and Hod. The place of the Netzach and Hod is under the Chazeh, and under the Chazeh is Chasadim Megulim, is the open, is a revealed Chasadim. We will study this later, but that's why they are called the true prophets. 35. Nolad Yosef. Yosef was born, and Yosef was born afterwards, after Netzach and Hod was born Yosef. Yosef is Yesod. But when Istarubo, and they have hidden, and they have they have hidden themselves in it, in him, in the Yesod, in Yosef. Point, because everything, all these Sfirot of Zeranpin, they are actually give to the Yesod. Yesod is Yosef. Yosef receives everything. Yosef is this very special thing, is Yesod, and we know the Yesod is called a tower that is hanging in the sky. Why is it like this? Because only the Yesod has the power, because it is the middle line, and it is not that it has the power to rise up to the Tiferet, from Tiferet to the Dat. It is still up and down, makes the movements. That's why we see also Yosef. We see in the Torah, we see him within several pages. We see him in the prison that he was taken in the prison, that he was law. Yes, he was law, in the lowest places. And then he was taken afterwards he was taken out of the prison. And even before, you remember that he was with Yosef, we have, because it's Yesod, we have things, we see in the Torah, things that he is up and down, up and down. It's not the same up, and it's not the same down. Because we see that Yaakov admired his son above all the other sons, and then they sold him to Egypt as a slave. It's all the spiritual process, phenomena. We will study. There's absolutely great, without outside of the Kabbalah, no one understands a word. And then we see that he was sold, and then to Egyptians, and then he was appointed to the house as a manager, or in the house of the Potiphar. Yes, and he had a great life over there. And then, because of the wife of the Potiphar, he was the accident with the wife of the Potiphar. He was taken into the prison, and then over several years, he was 10 years in prison, and then 2 more. Also, this every year means something special, and also this story is great, what it means, everything. And then he was again brought before the Pharaoh, and he was in a great state. The under king of the Egypt, of all the world, that of that time. Everything, because the Yesod has this power to come from Yesod, its own place, up till the Dat of the Zeranpin, and then goes up and up and up till can rise up till the Attic. That's why the real tzaddikim, they say that the great tzaddikim, the perfect tzaddikim, the perfect righteous, that they rise from chayil to chayil, from power to power. What does it mean? Through Yesod, cleansing the Yesod and building up the power, the will's power that corresponds to the laws of the universe. One rises higher and higher and higher. So someone who studies Kabbalah, he is getting stronger and stronger up till the last moment of his life. The body maybe becomes weaker, but a person is not a body. And this is what he said, that Yosef was born. Yosef was born means that appeared also Yosef was the power of the Yesod. V'nistarubo, and they were hidden in him. Point, Nichnas Yosef ba'aretz ha'kedusha. The left column, line 1. Vehikim otam sham, ve'az niru ba'aretz, 2. V'niglu sham. Point. 35, the right column. Nichnas Yosef ba'aretz ha'kedusha. Yosef entered into the holy land. We will study this, everything what we are just learning here, just in the next lesson we will decodify or everything what we have studied in this oath. Vehikim otam sham, and he sustained them over there. Va'az niru ba'aretz, and then they appeared on earth. You see these sprouts. V'niglu sham, and they were and appeared over there, and revealed themselves over there. And we will wait the next lesson, and then we will go further. B'ezrat Hashem.